slave no fucking more.
Prior even to the signing of the Declaration of Independence, those people wanted to escape and have their own land, determine their own way of conducting their life, have their own religious freedom, and not be subject to somebody else's dictates on every aspect of their life and where they had to live and what they had to plan, who they had to be beholden to. The problem is that those European rulers, they couldn't let good enough alone. They couldn't let us just come here and be our own people. They had to try and extend their rule out across the Atlantic and try to dominate us even over here. And they sent their redcoats over and made their rules and tried to reign over our cities and our local leaders and tell them what they're going to do and how they're going to serve the king. At some certain point, the people had had enough. They had a Boston Tea Party. Started right there in Boston. And they went out, threw the tea in the ocean, said, we're not paying your taxes, we don't want your tea, and if you're going to run these prices to outer space, we're not going to play with it. We'll do our own stuff. Crown didn't like that. Well, when they're coming to just impose their taxes when we don't get any representation, we don't get any say in how they're spent, the taxes go for their games, their wars, their mischief. And we're stuck with just paying the bill. We don't like that. We don't want that. We're not going to go along with that. We're not going to be your slaves anymore. That's what that early generation of Americans said. You know, we think about what defines an American. What is America? It's an attitude. America's not a place on a map solely. It's an idea. It's an ideal. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of conducting your own life, living according to principles under God and within a community, within laws, to be able to function together for your own purposes, for your own end, not under some king's rule for their gain, to do their wars their way. We came here, established this country. We want to elect our own leaders from our own families, from our own communities, to help us in determining our own destiny. And what's been going on for a long, long time is that these hidden manipulators, these hidden rulers, wannabe rulers of our life, have been fooling us. They've been sifting in their people that would do stuff that they wanted done to control us, sifting in infiltrators to try and manipulate us into doing their will, their way, their timing, over and over and over. Back when this country was founded, the people, when they finally had enough, they began to work with leaders, and pamphlets went out through the community. People read and understood what was the makings for a nation. They argued and discussed back and forth what made a difference. Every American, all the people in these cities were very intellectual, very knowledgeable of what was lawful, what was ordained by God, what was lawful in a Christian community, a Christ-centered community, a godly community. And they came to some level of agreement. When those men gathered to sign the Declaration of Independence, to work out the final details, that was a culmination of decades, years, months, hours of conversations, back and forth, discussions and discord, eventually arriving at that sacred document that we have built a whole country around, those concepts. When they signed that on July 4th, 1776, they drew line in the sand, and they said, we will not be your slaves anymore.